I am ready.
All right.
Made ready.
Welcome to the Pink House Chronicles, the official vlog/podcast of Ben Owens Music, your hometown music store, located at 1803 Plum Street in lovely Bremerton, Georgia. This is the show where we talk about gear, music, the shop, answer your questions, and so much more. I'm Dave.
I'm Chase.
What's going on, Chase?
Nothing much. I just got back in town from being on vacation for a few days, so I was out of the shop. So I'm playing catch up.
Yeah.
All the new stuff that came in the store.
We did. I did a heck of a lot of cleaning. Been working on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, anyway, you're back.
Yes, I'm
Back in the saddle, teaching lessons, slinging guitars.
Yes, sir.
Got to come up with a name for the gear segment. So if anybody wants to throw us a name,
Hit us with your suggestions.
We always like that. That's what I think this is about. I think this is what the shop is about.
Yeah, we want to engage our community, and we want to hear from you guys and have you be involved in the process.
That being said, what's new in your gear world?
Well, new in my gear world is I'm getting rid of some gear, and I've got my sights set on. We were talking about doing builds last episode, and you were talking about your Jazzmaster, and I've decided I'm going to build me a telly, and I'm going to just customize the fire out of it.
What made you switch? Because you were talking Jazzmaster.
I was on the
Jazzmaster fever.
Well, it came down to what I'm going to use, and I'm a country musician. I have.
Is your eye in your telly right now?
Yeah, I'm looking at my telly, and my telly. I have a Mexican-made Nashville telly, and I love it, but I've played several of these tellies that Ben has built, and the tone-wise, they just sound, above and beyond. And I want to have something that's a forever guitar, and I want to personalize it. I mean, that's the thing country musicians have done since time immemorial, where it's like, put your name on it, customize it, bedazzle it, make a nudie suit out of a guitar,
So that you're going telly.
Telly. That's my story.
Are you doing Nashville style, or are you going to do
I have been torn. I have gotten kind of used to the 3 pickup arrangement. Even the telly I had before this was a James Burton signature telly, and I like having that third option. The jury's still out, and you can wire them, because right now, it's a Strat pickup in the middle, but you can wire them to where you have the bridge and neck combo still, which is the telly sweet spot, especially in country playing.
So you're going to put 5-switch,
yeah,
5-way switch,
5-way switch. So, I've toyed with the idea of throwing a B-bender or something like that on there, but I went through all the trouble to learn all the B-bender licks without one, and I feel like now it might screw me up.
Yeah, you've already learned the habit.
Yeah.
I was going to hold off, but the bug got me. I've been on a parts purchasing bit of a binge.
Yeah.
A little bit. I ordered the bridge. I got the pickups.
Nice.
I ordered a wiring harness. And I went to Deco Boom, and I was in here when my off day. I'm like, what looks better? Because I'd figured out between the two colors. So I ordered the Deco Boom pick guard. And what else?
So all you need now is a neck. Right?
I even ordered, there's one of those places that does custom water slides, so I made it kind of custom to that, because I just think the headstock just looks naked.
Yeah, it does.
Without something on there. So I had a custom one specific for that build, because I haven't ordered the Bigsby or the plate that goes with it when you're from Vibrate.
Oh, that's right. You're putting a Bigsby on your.
Yeah, I'm going to do the Vibrate kit on there. So I've got 3 or 4 more parts to go, but that's and everybody's backed up on necks. So I'm going to do an all parts necks, but they're out. So that's going to be the longest. But I figure I'm going to do electronics, and I was thinking too. And this was talking to one of the customers who's like, putting it up on the bench and doing a video as I build it out. But I want to wait till I get everything there, so I know the thing I always forget is strap buttons. It's so stupid, but I even think I'm about I haven't got the knobs for it yet. I'm trying to go. I kind of wanted to customize it, make it your own.
You're gonna get locking strap locks?
No. I'm talking about the tone and knobs and stuff like that. I'm trying to I found some old radio knobs.
Yeah.
That look kind of deco that go with the pickup guard or scratch plate, whatever you want to call it, on there. I'm trying to decide between some old radio knobs.
That would be cool.
So versus the Witch Hat vintage 60 whatever Fender things, but. So because it's not a Fender.
No, it's not. It's a Dave.
It's a Barncaster. That's what it's called. But that's what I've been doing, and just drilling down deep, and like if the price is good enough, I've been pulling the trigger.
Yeah, I haven't put too much thought into the. I'm going to go vintage specs with the pickups. I know Seymour Duncan makes the. That's what Ben has put in some of like his no-caster. I think I'm going to go for a no-caster style.
Yeah, that Mustang that I bought, it didn't have the original pickups.
Yeah, that's right.
It's got the vintage,
antiquities.
Antiquities,
yeah,
which I love, look great as well. So, we talk about pedals quite a bit in here. We did that, and we do the show, the demos and all that. And what is your favorite type of guitar pedal?
I think at the end of the day, it's probably reverb, just because I kind of prefer a reverb pedal versus like in a live environment. Anyways, in a studio you can get away with spring tanks, but spring tanks have a tendency to wash out your signal in a live setting if you've got too much, because you pick up a lot of room reverb naturally. Depending on where you're playing. It's something you have to tweak. You can't just go, this is my setting, I'm going to use it everywhere I play. So that's one thing. The other thing is, if you're on a stage and you're doing that, those springs, the springs have a tendency to go haywire. Not to mention, they can be fragile, and it's one more thing you have to sort of keep an eye on. So I like it in a pedal form because you can control the mix, and then also you don't have to worry about the springs.
I think you know what I'm going to say about mine is. Can you guess?
It's fuzz pedal.
Oh, fuzz pedal. I have a fuzz problem. I've got two of those JHS. They're back ordered right now.
Yeah.
I got the Shin-A, which is the second Shin-A clone that I got. And then I got the Tone Bender. The price points on them were just like...
Well, the Tone Bender is my all-time favorite fuzz circuit.
So, yeah. And I think I have one Tone Bender clone that Mike built from Northfield Sound.
Oh, nice.
And
Mike Tappan, our buddy here locally.
Yeah.
And
he's built a couple pedals for me.
Yeah, he's a great musician, too. I played in a band with him for a few years.
So, but fuzz, and I was listening to the Wampler podcast, and they were talking about fuzz, and people just think fuzz is so singular.
Yeah, people have sort of a one-dimensional view of fuzz. It's almost like if you're a craft beer drinker. It's like it's an acquired kind of.
It's a cult.
Taste,
I think the cult of the fuzz.
Yeah.
It's a cult.
I was going to be more diplomatic, but we'll use cult.
I'll own it. And I brought in like coming over to your house and bringing stuff in here that's like this, and I've got Octaver, like the Jimi Hendrix Octaver clone fuzz that I bought from Dentone, and I've got that whole board that's just outside of like a delay on there.
Until you started working at the store, we didn't really carry a lot of fuzzes, and then Dave was like on a one-man mission to rectify that. So now, because of that, we have several EHX fuzzes. We've got the Ram's Head fuzz,
the David Gilmour Triangle fuzz, which he made popular.
Yeah, the big muff circuit.
That op-amp fuzz just does that, regardless of whatever you think of Smashing Pumpkins, and I definitely have my opinions on those guys and in the band, but it just hits that right kind of like, you can dial it in to get that vintage kind of like satisfaction.
Especially with a single coil pickup guitar, they really take fuzz exceptionally well.
When I play it through those my P90s, it just runs home. Fuzz, I think fuzz also gets overlooked because I'm thinking about the wavelength that it just makes that noise, but you can make it do what a distortion or overdrive does, and it's just really about and I'm worse at this, but if you dial down the volume and you mess with the gain and the tone.
Well, I think David Gilmour is a perfect example of that. I think most people don't associate David Gilmour with fuzz, but a big chunk of his lead tone, when you think of a solo like Comfortably Numb, and that's a big muff. He's not playing it full out.
No.
He's got it reined in, but it just shows you how versatile a fuzz pedal can be.
So yes, that is let us know what your favorite pedal is, tone wise or whatever, and share that with us. What's new? What's catching your eyes new in the shop?
Well, I was out this week, so I'm a little behind. I came in and I noticed we had a few new guitars. We've got a Jackson, little shred beast, Randy Rhoads style.
Yeah,
it's I think
it's the Randy Rhoads model.
Yeah. It's like $199. It comes with a gig bag. That's pretty cool. I always like pointy guitars. I guess we had a Squire Telly.
Yeah,
that came in. It's also $199 and. It's white. It's clean. Those Squires really are a lot of bang for your buck.
And then we got that PRS single cutaway. They're doing a couple demos that we're dropping.
Oh yeah. We demoed it out. Me and Dave were both kind of like, I'm not a big PRS guy, but man, this thing plays and sounds great. Yeah.
And if you like natural wood, with the veneer's got that kind of like flame maple top.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
So
for a $500 guitar, it's
choice, and you don't have to be a dentist or lawyer to own it.
No, you don't.
And that. So that's what's going on in our gear world. What's going on in the shop here now? Let's do our the breakdown of the week between us. Here is some questions I'm pulling up off my phone right here. This is a whole other show we need to talk about. And maybe next episode is Joel types in, talk about demo types of pickups and wood tonality. We've talked about tone wood. We've heard a lot of conversations about
tone wood is one of those, like, we might have to just dedicate the entire episode to it because there's so many nuances to it, and there's just a lot of information out there and a lot of
opinions,
a lot of really, really closely held opinions.
Yeah,
people are really. It's a divisive topic.
So I think next episode we'll just dedicate it to that.
We can do that.
All right.
I've got things to say.
Wade tapped in. I've always found distortion pedals to suck the oomph out of my amp tone, leaving the guitar buried in the mix, especially in performance. How do you avoid that?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of variables in that question.
Where is it sitting in your pedal chain?
Sitting in your chain? What kind of distortion pedal are we talking? What kind of guitar? What kind of amp? You know, if you're playing a high gain amp, a distortion pedal in front of it really just saturates things further and gets it hairier. You know, a lot of times with that kind of application, you'd be better off with an overdrive pedal, which is going to tighten things up. And depending on what type of overdrive circuit it is, it can boost your mid-range, boost your bass, clip your bass. There's a lot of variables. You know, a lot of times a distortion pedal is best used in front of maybe an amp that's almost to the sweet spot, or, you know, is a relatively clean.
Well, I'm going to interrupt you. Two things that impact that'll suck it out. What type of amp are you using?
Yes, that's a big thing.
Like, certain amps are just like, Marshalls are not, in my experience, not necessarily the best for putting it, other than maybe like a delay or a reverb.
Or an overdrive. They take
overdrive. It's not
but a
good
distortion pedal, yeah.
Or even fuzz with some of those is it's not necessarily going to be the best, and maybe Jay Maskus, writes the rule book differently on that. And then if your amp, how much headroom does your amp have?
Yeah,
in it?
That's a big factor.
That will impact the sound of it. So, and I think too, where do you got it dialed in?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, are you cranking the gain on that?
Yeah, because there's a bit of a misnomer. A lot of people that use distortions use it because they want that big, just grrr, classic, either classic rock or even the metal tones. And what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of those guys didn't use that much distortion. They were just playing really, really loud. Eddie Van Halen, if you go back and listen to Van Halen 1, there's not a lot of dirt. It's just, he's got everything saturated, and he's got a tight bottom end and everything, but he's mostly just playing loud,
Angus Young, basically, his sound is that Marshall, but he had a wireless system, and they say that
impacted his tone
as well, but it was just straight guitar.
Slash's Marshall settings, he has the distortion on about 2. Loudness gives you a lot of tone, and I think that's a little bit of the secret weapon in those big tones.
So hope that helped you out, Wayne. Eric writes in, if I never use the tremolo system in my Strat, should I block it or just let it be? What would be the advantage to blocking it?
Well, if you block it, it'll give you a little bit more tuning stability, because even though you might not use it every time, that's what we call a floating bridge system. So every time you bend the string, you're tugging on that bridge,
right?
And so it being floating, it's not locked down. And if you block it, that bridge isn't going to move. So it could give you more tuning stability, for sure.
And it's just...
And some people say that it gives you a little bit more sustain with that block in there, because the block is connected to the bridge, which is connected to the body. I don't know. That's debatable, I suppose.
And it depends on your block, too.
Yeah.
And it depends on, like, what type of tremolo system is it? Are you doing... Is it, like, just... was it scrap metal, Chinese scrap metal,
right,
punch metal, or whatever they call that. I can't think of. The quality of your trim system will impact it as well, and also too, like
if you have locking tuners or whatnot.
Yeah, and it is they come in the Floyd Rose versus the Fender system versus like a Bigsby. What type of bridge is your bridge set up correctly?
I would suggest if you're just not using a tremolo system, no matter what type it is, I would highly suggest blocking it, just because it just gives you a little bit more stability.
So, all right, Eric, hope that answered your question. Chris Falcon wrote in, if you had to choose, and then he used an ellipses. Cheap guitar and expensive amp, or expensive guitar and cheap amp.
I'm very passionate about this. An amp is much more, I think, valuable than the guitar in terms of, if you play a $3,800 top of the line tricked out Les Paul into a little crappy practice amp made by First Act, you're going to sound like garbage. But you can play a little $150 Squire, or even one of the lower end, LP Junior Les Paul, that are like $150, $200, and you play that through, a 1972 Super Lead, you're still going to sound pretty awesome.
I think I'm going to have to agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Because you can get a cheap guitar and set it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Sound really good.
Yeah.
And you put it through, like, I'm more of a Fender. I like that Fender kind of amp style. Through that, even like the cheaper Fender amps, you're going to want when you start getting into like the Hot Rod Deluxes or the Tone Masters or even Reverb Deluxe and blah, 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 or even some of the Marshalls. Like, you start mid-range price amps up there, it's going to sound a million times better.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And it's going to make it,
it's just, it's a better investment of money too, because you get a good amp and, you can come back and a good amp, maintained well, can last you a lifetime.
Yeah.
Just about. So, I mean, it's kind of a one-time purchase if you get the right amp, and you can always come back and upgrade your guitars or,
buy a new one.
Whereas, if you have a little,
And if if you have a cheap guitar, you can mod the heck out of it.
You can.
And you're not going to impact the value versus, let's say you get like a high-end Gibson or Fender or PRS. Like, that's usually they're putting in the higher component parts on it.
And the thing, too, is with a little cheap amp, it really doesn't matter how many pedals you put in front of it either. It's still, it's
going to be a cheap amp.
Putting lipstick on a pig, as they say.
Yes. And last question here. How do you guys stay so cool? It's a facade with me. I fake it well.
Who asked that?
Joel Cregan.
Does he mean cool as in temperature-wise?
Temperature-wise? I don't know. It's just a facade with me. That's this week's questions. Keep them coming in. But next episode, we're going to delve into Tonewoods. And maybe a whole different one on pickups.
Yeah.
I think those are two separate topics, Joel, so we're not ignoring you. Should we save the vintage versus modern thing for another whole episode?
I think so.
All right. So we want to, in the future episode, we are going to do, but we got a lot of great questions from y'all, vintage versus modern guitars.
Yeah, we want to be able to give some of these topics that are a little bit more in depth the right amount of time.
Yes.
I don't want to just rush through them.
So because we want to keep these anyway. Digress. So what are your vintage? We hear a lot of talk. People coming in here, old guitars versus newer guitars, and I definitely have my opinion. I know Chase definitely has.
Yeah,
yours.
I mean it's a loaded question.
Yes.
So there's a lot of variables to consider because they made bad guitars 50 years ago too.
Yes.
So there's a lot of, but we'll get into the specifics. We'll get down to the nitty gritty.
So I think that's an episode.
I think it is.
All right. Hey, thanks for checking us out. Please share, comment, submit questions for our next episode. We're going to talk about Tonewood.
Sounds good.
What is your thoughts on that? And thanks a lot for all the love with the first episode. This is fun.
Yeah, come down and see us. We're open 6 days a week now. So
yes, your music store in the Valdese, Bremerton, Tifton areas, just South Georgia, North Florida.
Yeah, South Georgia.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah.